Hello, hello, hello. How are we? It is Friday, the 14th of April. How you doing? Doing good? Are you? Even are you? The whole auto-changing camera still messing me up. But I hope you're doing good and great. I think I might just keep looking at this camera anyway. And just ignore that one over there. But how are you on this Friday? Any good weekend plans ahead? Do you have any? I hope you do. I mean, why not? Why not? Hey, Caroline. You did not miss it. You were early. You are early. Which is all good. Better to be early than late. I'm an early person. Hey, Michelle. Great to have you here. Welcome back as always. Tanya is here as well. Welcome, superstar. Great to have you. Caroline is here as well. Great to have you back. I had a great time with my family there in Sedona, but they're traveling back tomorrow. And that means I get to spend Saturday evening and Sunday and Monday with them before I take them to the airport on Monday. So there we go. Yeah, had a great time so far. I am exhausted today. I was exhausted yesterday as well. I had a nap yesterday. I was thinking if I could get 10-minute nap in, but I haven't got a 10-minute hypnosis nap. I think it's only 15 and I'd have been late. So maybe I'll just nap while I speak. Maybe that's what I'll do. Subscribe. Subscribe, will you? Excuse me. Go ahead and subscribe on youtube.com/Joseph Clough. Why not? Wake up. Wake up. Wide awake and back. Wide awake and back. Mr. Sebastian's good. He just went out for a checkup today, so that's all good. His one eye is good pressured. Mr. C's actually asleep there, but he's marging in. He's there somewhere. He's there. He could be there for all I know right now. But I think he's down here somewhere. Ah, nice. Well, I better wake up a little bit. Great to have you here. As well as MZ. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, be gentle. Be gentle. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think, I mean, it's 3:04 p.m. here. Is it a good idea to have a nap at 4 p.m.? Now, does that throw everything off? Or should I just keep maintaining where I am? What do you reckon I should do? What do you reckon I should do? Should I have a nap? Not have a nap. If I could get 20 minutes in, I'll be right as rain. Right as rain. Christy, welcome back. Definitely have a nap. Sure, naps are great. I love a nap. What I do, I call it my bed of nails, but I've got the acupuncture mat. And if I lay on that, I can nap real quick. So maybe I will. Because I want to enjoy my evening. I don't want to be tired in the evening. I don't want to be tired in the evening. Exactly. Got one of those on the app. A power app nap. Power app nap. Oh, gotta maintain. Gotta maintain here. I got a coaching call to run tomorrow. So I need to be refreshed for that. Did I say welcome to you, Rosella? Welcome. Yeah, maybe I can do like a quick trance nap. You're tech unconscious. Well, become conscious and unconscious. Why not? Why not? Who's that? Is that my private group? Again. People sleep way too much on this planet. I don't know. Maybe. Don't want to generalize to lots of people. I like to get a good 7 hours. 7 hours is good for me. But I believe listening to the body. I don't have an alarm. I do set an alarm, but I just never wake up to it. I always wake up earlier. I just wake up when I'm ready to wake up. That's what I do. Exactly. Exactly. How much is too much? Because body types are different. And then it depends on exercise, it depends on output, input, all of that stuff. Listen to the body. Listen to your unconscious mind. That's what I would do. But I think because I've been doing a lot of driving on my trip, and catching up on work, I think that's why. Exactly. Exactly. Ooh, slept for 3 hours after being up for 54 hours? Oh my goodness, Christy. Oh my goodness. Yeah, exactly. I've got an 8-hour hypnosis. Oh look, right there. Well, it's not on there though. I've got sleep sessions on there. Listen to the insomnia track. Continuously get it into the system. Yeah. I like a good 20-minute nap sometimes if I need it. Especially in the sun. But as I said, I gotta work tomorrow. I get to see my family tomorrow. I get to hang out with them tomorrow. Going to dinner tomorrow night at one of my favorite places. And then that's it. That's it. So with that, Sleep is important. Ah, great. I'm going to get them on the app soon. Got another version to test on this device. Some little errors that I've spotted. Android users. How do you use Androids? The functions are just all weird for me. Yeah, I think they know best. Like my one's right here. Somewhere. But there we go. I mean, they sleep a lot, right? I don't think I looked it up once. Don't they sleep like 16 to 18 hours a day? Depending on the age. That's a long time. But should we get into today's episode? Start early. Maybe finish early. Maybe. Oh, I can't do that. I need like 10 minutes to get into the nap. And then a 20-minute of the actual nap and I'm done. Yeah, I would. I would probably go to say I'm not sure I could be really good friends with an Android user. If like, you're really, really cool. Oh, you got an Android. I think I've gotta go. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Kinda. Kinda. In a bit. Everything of mine is Android. No! That's a lie. Everything of mine is Apple. Only this is Android, which I don't get. It's all weird to me. Like the keyboard, it vibrates when I go. It goes. Don't get it. Buttons seem like they're in the wrong place. So I don't want to insult any Android users here, but I don't know if we can be friends. We can be friends. Maybe we'll do a hypnosis session to stop it though. Maybe. Maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I'm just tired and I'm being judgmental to the Android users. Like...
Android users. Cannot believe you have an Android. I don't know how to turn it off. Maybe it's in settings. Maybe. So, there we go.
There we go. Okay, I can shut off the touch feedback in your settings. Gotta find the settings then. There's the app though. Doesn't look much different, but for those who cannot restore, we've added a little button and it refreshes your purchases. So we can do that. No. Daniel, you got it wrong. I meant to get off Android onto Apple. That was what the hypnosis would be for. That's what it would be for. It'd be like, no to the Androids. Think about it, Androids, they want to turn you into an Android. Oh, thank you, Linda, you're so kind. Thank you so much. So kind. I'll check that out. Oh. I did what you just... Pull down the top twice. That's all I get. The settings. Or is that where it is, though? Oh, it auto changes the brightness for me. I don't know. Let's not make this Android tech support for me. No. Oh, there's a settings button at the top there. Tech support, Christy. Christy. There we go. Sounds and vibration, maybe. We'll do it another day. We'll do it another day. Oh, it won't turn off now. There we go. See, you guys have got it. Hey, CG. Great to have you here. Welcome. Great to have you here. Oh, Christine. Great to have you here, Christine. Or hi from Christine. I presume that's your name on here, Christine. Not that you're from a place called Christine. Or do I know you, Christine? Are you the Christine I know? The one and only? Are you? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. Anyway. Correct. Episode 812. Should we get into it? Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Awesome. Great to know then. Love it. So, episode 812, let's get into it and just see what happens. What are we talking about today? I thought of this subject on a run, so I thought we'll go ahead and talk about it. Use your emotional wounds to your advantage. Might be a small one, might be a long one, just to cover all bases. But let's get to it. Let's get to some upgrading. Use your emotional wounds to your advantage. I need to hydrate though. Maybe that's why I'm a bit tired. There we go. I'm back. I'm back into the game now. Okay, episode 812. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun, and I'll speak to you all in a moment. Well, after the podcast. That's what we'll do after the podcast. Okay. 3. Well, let's get off this one for a second. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 812. Now, in today's episode, we're talking about using your emotional wounds to be able to take you through the tough times, which kind of sounds a little bit weird because sometimes we're in pain, sometimes we're having anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, frustration. Sometimes we're going through economic crisis. Sometimes we are in a bad breakup. Sometimes people have left us, like passed on or moved on. So there's going to be lots of times throughout our life where we're going to feel raw emotions. Maybe we've grown up in a situation, in a family dysfunctional unit that made us feel bad about ourselves, where we don't feel worthy, deserving, or enough. Maybe it's created panic attacks. Maybe it's created anxiety, nervousness, blushing like I used to, and the inner dread that I used to experience. So I'm very conscious that many people pretty much on this podcast experience a kaleidoscope of different emotions. And it got me thinking about times throughout my life when I have felt despair, where I felt as if I don't know if there's going to be a way out of this. Times where I felt extremely lost and severely alone. And I want you to know, even if you feel alone, you're not alone in the experience of it. It happens. But we don't want to repress it. You see, the more you repress negative emotions or conflict, it becomes more conflicted. It becomes actually stronger. We can bury it as much as possible, but it's always going to be there. Wherever you go there, right? Same thing with your emotions. You can try to repress them, but they're always going to be there. So that's not going to be helpful. And also we know, just on a biological level, anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, and frustration isn't physically good for the body. It is not productive. It is not healthy. In fact, in some medical journals, they've said anger can lead to more possibilities of like heart attacks. Things like guilt can mean lower healing energy. Simply, if you think about guilt as an emotion, we don't deserve to be healthy, right? We don't deserve to be good. So we kind of punish ourselves. So we've got to realize that these negative emotions are here, right? Don't run from them. Don't repress them. Sometimes we've got to utilize them for our advantage, despite the negativity. You see, when I was growing up, I experienced all of those negative emotions, all the dread, all the lack of belief within myself. But it became a moment in time where I thought, I can no longer run away from myself. I cannot run away from what I'm experiencing. These symptoms which are presenting and showing up in my life are not going to be serving me if I just repress or try to run away from them. So instead, I began to look in the mirror. I began to almost welcome them, because they are here for a reason. And you can utilize those emotions to your advantage. So when I got to that place of a wake-up call, and that's what I would call it, a wake-up call, it made me go, let me see what I can do to move with them, through them, evolve them, and learn and grow because of them. All the events that I went through, I wanted to begin to learn at an unconscious level. You see, think about it just like this, right? Once you learn what is needed to be learned, your unconscious mind doesn't have to keep the emotion. Think of that negative emotion as a frequency, a density, right? It is lowering our vibration. And if it's lowering our vibration, it is telling us that something's wrong in the ecosystem of your conscious and unconscious mind. So when we pay attention to it, we have an opportunity to learn from it, to grow from it, to get better because of it. So see all these negative emotions or conflicts that we have as opportunities, as signals, as messages that if we begin to read and understand, we can utilize to our advantage. And I'll cover a little bit more of that very, very soon. But let's go into some examples here. Think of everyone who's been successful. Not those who've been successful based on like it been passed down wealth or opportunity, but think about the people who have gone through the hardest times, yet still became successful. So we can think of the people who have started up their own company from homelessness. They've gone there. If you think of all the different kind of stories that we've heard of, these inspirations of people who have made changes in the world, despite having come from a very bad emotional and psychological experience. Some people grew up in poverty and decided that they're going to refuse to live that way when they grow up. Or they've lived in that dysfunctional observation of relationships. So modeling maybe their mother or father or their parent and a partner, and gone, I just do not want to live by this. I don't want to keep on playing that same story. Lots of athletes can actually come from poverty sometimes, and they go, look, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get out of this experience. And when I think about that, and the people that I have actually worked with over the years, very, very successful people I've worked with who are millionaires, like who have generated companies of doing over like $100 million every single year. They've not all had it great and profoundly good. Most of the time, they've experienced so much pain. And you can name the emotion, but let's just call it emotional pain, an emotional wound that made them go, I'm going to use this to fuel me. I'm going to use this to make me go forward. You see, sometimes we've got to process emotions. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we have to honor it. So for example, as a side step, if we're going through grief, I always suggest that you actually mark out every single day at least 10 minutes where you purposely, consciously welcome that grief. And therefore you get to process it, you get to acknowledge it, you get to be with it. But after, let's say, the 10 minutes, you go, I'm done with it today until tomorrow. It's like you're setting up a standard for yourself that you are prioritizing yet honoring to be able to move through that. But if we then go back to utilizing emotions, it is energy in motion. So why not use that energy in emotion or in motion to make it emotion to our advantage? So if you're in a place of anger, use it as fuel to go, do you know what? I'm angry and I'm going to do something about my situation to move forward. If we're in a place of fear, I'm going to feel that fear and go, I'm going to utilize it. I'm going to use it to my advantage because it is still energy. We can call it negative energy. We can label it certain things, but why not utilize it while we can? Why not go for the experience and think, if I'm feeling it anyway, how can I use it to my advantage? How can I use this bankruptcy to fuel myself to create a new business, to learn from this experience? If I'm in, and I've never been homeless or anything like that, so I want to be conscious of my language when I say things like that because I've not been in that experience. But with those people I have listened to and communicated with, there was a moment when they went, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to fuse this pain that I've had over the years to make the change that I want, to get the security. So when we think about these emotions, change your relationship to them. You see, those emotions that we have, we tend to think as a prison. We'd like to think that those emotions are stopping us from moving forward. But those emotions don't have to stop us. They don't have to be the guardians of if we will or will not succeed. It doesn't have to be that definitive by just making us feel this way, just causing us to be locked down. It doesn't have to be that. It feels like that, so don't get me wrong. I understand because I've felt a lot of emotions. I'm human. I've gone through all those things. But if I'm going to have them in my life and I can't necessarily shift out of that emotion because it's there, I'm going to honor it as a teacher. I'm going to honor it as a lesson. I'm going to honor it as a utilization. I'm going to use it as my motivation to not feel that emotion again. Or not necessarily again, there's warranted and unwarranted, but to not be in that state for the rest of my life. I'm going to feel that feeling and use it to my advantage to drive me forward. Because when we do that, that emotion becomes something which will propel you forward at times. You're going to change like I said, you're changing the relationship to it. Now it's not the guardian of if you will or will not succeed. It's now the fuel to move you forward. It's the fuel to go, I'm ready to make this change. I'm ready to do what it takes. I've been so low that there is only up from here. I'm going to go into different places. And I was actually listening to a story today of someone who went through so much struggle of just like almost being homeless or living on the sofa of someone's house when they're in their 40s. Yet they utilized it and go, this is my time. I'm going to do something about it. So sure, get the help to process it if you need to. Yes, get the right mentor to give you the short pathway there if you can. But either way, look into the mirror and welcome that emotion. It is not your enemy. It feels like your enemy, but it's not your enemy. It is a signal that once you start to pay attention to, once you start to listen to, once you start to like almost feel it in your life, to experience it, you can learn from it. Maybe, I'm not saying this is true, but maybe that emotion, no matter how negative it is, can be your greatest ally. It can be your greatest friend and teacher, because it's trying to say that something's not right. You see, if you're angry, I'm being very generalized here because I want to be once again conscious of my language. It's going to be different for different people. But say anger is there where maybe your values have been violated. That's why we're angry about a situation. We feel done by. We feel as if someone or something's happened to us against our desire. So we feel angry about the person, people, or situation. So it's a signal that my values have been violated. If we think of fear, we know that's a protection mechanism. It's trying to keep you safe. It just doesn't feel very good when we feel fear. If same thing when it comes to hurt, very similar to anger, someone may have done something to us which causes us to feel hurt, a violation of our values or our boundaries. We talked about guilt earlier, about it being a lower healing energy, but ultimately that guilt is trying, not doing, but trying to almost get better, to do something or to not do something again, right? That's why I feel guilty. Maybe I've done an action, and because of that action, maybe I've upset people. Maybe because of that, it just didn't feel good. I almost kind of went against my own values. That's why I feel bad. And some of these values can be instilled with us, whether it be from news, social, religion, friends, family. Once again, it's a kaleidoscope of different situations which could complement, or not complement, but contribute to it. But if we think of what guilt is, it's trying to protect you so you don't do something bad or so-called bad again. Same thing with sadness. All of these things, anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, anxiety is also trying to protect you of all the things which could happen. So think about that as a starting point. Think of you had the label of the emotion and the wound that you experience, but the origin of that emotion was an intention. There was a starting point with an intent. Now look at the intent if you can. Think about what it's trying, not doing, but trying to do for you. And I think you may realize that it's trying to do something positive. It's trying to do something to protect you, even if it's not doing it fully. So if we start with the origin of the intention, now we then start to disconnect with it to a degree. Not like from the emotion, but from the meaning of the emotion. Once again, we're changing the relationship of the emotion. It's not there to keep us a prisoner. It's actually there to show us something, to lift the veil of what is and what is not possible, to be able to take a look. Maybe this situation isn't for me, and that's why it's trying to move me into a new one. Even things like the imposter syndrome, it signals. Our symptoms are signals pointing to a cause. When we get to that cause, And it's usually hidden, it's unconscious. We just observe the symptoms. But once we start to observe for what they really are, not what we really feel about them, it changes how we perceive this situation. It changes our perception and our meaning to it, and then we can move with it. So if you feel fear, feel it and go, I'm going to do whatever it takes to move. If I'm feeling angry, I'm going to utilize it as moving forward. If I feel hurt, I'm going to move forward. Now let's put it this way. Maybe someone has hurt you in the past. Well, is it good to just keep the feeling of hurt? It's not serving you, and it's definitely not helping this situation. So use it as an advantage to show maybe yourself or that person who hurt you that you are more than that hurt, that you are more than that experience. If someone has done something which caused you to be angry, you keeping the anger is not serving anyone once again. So utilize it as your advantage and be angry and go, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get out of this situation. There's been many times where we have been hurt, when we've been angry, sad, fear, guilt, all of those things. But utilize it. Look for the message. Change the meaning. Feel it. But use that energy in motion to your advantage. Because you can. Why? Because it's yours. It's your experience of it. I'm not trying to say it is easy, because we've been trained to think these negative emotions are just the prisoner of us, or the prisoner guard of us. But if we do change that relationship for a moment, for a day, if we keep on just reflecting upon it and then utilizing it as a fuel to our desire, it can be a good thing. It can be the wake-up call. It could cause us to go on a mission to find the answers that we've always been searching for. So going back to my story, and I've talked about this before, when I was in the darkest of my personal experience, which by the way is extremely dark to me, because it was the darkest experience that I had. People may have had darker ones, but it was my experience of the darkest time, so it was the most meaningful time to me. Personally, from my perception, I was like, I'm going to use this. I'm going to feel this, get angry about it, and do something about it. I'm going to use that fear and move me forward. I'm going to feel sad and go, I'm feeling this sadness, and I'm going to do something about it. Because that violation of values means that there's something important to me. And if there's something important to me, I get to move through it. I get to grow because of it. I get to move forward. And the weird and interesting thing about most of these experiences, that along the way, you'll start to discover something else. Something deeper than you could ever imagine or even consider. You see, when I was feeling my lowest of the low, when I was feeling the worry and dread that would keep me up all the time, would make me so fearful about going to school or going to work, and the self-consciousness, all that dread, it caused me to look at myself and go, I'm not happy here. And if I'm not happy here, I'm going to do something about it today, every single day. Otherwise, I'm more committed to staying the same. I'm more committed to wallowing in the emotion. And this could upset people, by the way, and I'm not trying to. But I'm just saying, if you're not happy in where you are, how you feel, use it to move you forward. Use it to break through it, right? You're not bearing, you're not running away from it. And like I said, the interesting thing for me, when I went on that mission of discovering the solution, I then decided I wanted to make that my mission in life to hopefully help others to do so. I didn't plan to be a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist or a practitioner of change or all the other kind of things that I've studied over the years. I didn't plan to be that. But maybe within my darkest time, that was the plan. And we can think about it differently in the woo la la, the most amazing out there stuff. And so I say that in a playful way. But maybe that anger and that fear, that sadness and the dread and the anxiety and the self-doubt, the not feeling good enough and not feeling worthy, feeling like an imposter, feeling like I'm going to get rejected, all of those things, maybe the meaning within it for me, I'm not saying this is true, but maybe the meaning for me was that it actually caused something bigger than me to come out. It caused me to go on this journey to then create these episodes. It caused me to experience something more and to do more, to be in purpose and on purpose. So that's what I really think about. I think about when I see people in pain, but they can utilize it. And we do utilize it. But it's how you utilize it, how you want to process it. Do you want it to be the prisoner guard of your success? The gatekeeper? Are we going to choose to see it that way? Because at the end of the day, we are making the meaning of that to be true. But we think about it, it's just emotion. Good, bad, or indifferent, it's emotion. So if we take away the label, we take away the meaning. Anger does not have to always mean something crazy negative, because it can be the instigator of moving you out of a situation. Does that make sense? But sometimes that emotion, we go, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, actually is, wake up, wake up, wake up. This situation right now is not of good for you. So if we change it to that meaning, even if it's not true, because what is true at the end of the day? Is it really a crazy negative thing? If it causes us to move forward, if it causes us to get out of that situation, if we've been in a relationship and we've been used and abused, maybe it's okay to be angry, to go, I'm done with feeling this way. I'm done in being in this relationship. Maybe we've been so sad because of that relationship. That sadness is saying, look, I'm not going to feel this sadness again in this way. So it causes you to move from that situation. So it's all a matter of interpretation. But I just try to utilize what I feel the most to my advantage. It's energy in motion. And I get to choose the direction of that motion. I get to choose how I experience it. And after a period of time, what begins to happen is that your unconscious mind begins to learn from it. It begins to learn from you. No longer is it just going all out, doing all the things on your behalf for the good intentions, but in a negative consequence. But instead, it's going, hey, the conscious mind is using this energy differently. So every time you begin to feel that emotion again, it remembers when you started to take over the rein and into the driving seat of that, and then it starts to do that on your behalf. It becomes a habitual pattern, a neurological pathway that gets connected, that when you feel this anger, you use it to your advantage. When you feel that sadness, you process it by learning from it. Of course, we have to honor it to start with. So I'm not saying to negate it, bury it, diminish it. Honor it for a message. And that means you're moving with it, through it, in a conscientious way that allows you to be the director of that emotion. And then after a while, your unconscious mind does that on your behalf in the right way, not through the old way that it's been doing it. So remember, just as an overall, remember the emotions that you feel, that you perceive to be so debilitating and negative, can be your greatest liberator from the situation that you're in. So if you feel angry about it, feel the anger. Don't repress it and move forward. You can channel anger into good anger. So I'm not saying going around punching people. I'm talking about using that anger to go, I'm going to do whatever it takes to never be in this situation again. I'm going to just go and do what has to be done that will serve me in my future. Change the meaning, you change your relationship. When you do that, as I said, you don't know what may happen because of it. Maybe you'll be an example for someone one day. Maybe it's your child if you have children. Maybe it's for your partner, your neighbor, your colleague, your boss. You don't know how it's going to change you just yet. I did not know, as I said, but I'm sure happy I utilized it, because otherwise I would not be in this position of recording these episodes. 812, over like 13 or almost 14 million downloads across the world. All of those things would not have happened if I didn't use it to my advantage. So hopefully, if you're feeling down, you're feeling negative emotions, this may help you. Don't wallow in it. Don't be a victim of the emotion. Be the victor of it. Cause it to be a driving motivation to the future that you desire, even if you don't know the how. I like to think the how will start to just be there before your eyes once you start to make the first steps into your reality that you begin to choose to create. So rather being a product of life, you allow life to be a product of what you choose to create. That's how I like to see this. Whether it's true or not, I know it's true for me, and for those who I have worked with who are super highly successful in lots of different endeavors, who are very wonderful, kind people, being in that abundance. They've all been in those same places that maybe we've been and are in right now. And the only difference to me is the way that they utilized it. That's all. The way that they interpreted it, how they worked with it. So that just means to me that you have the opportunity to do just that as well. It's not just for them. It wasn't just for me. It can be utilized by anyone and for everyone when you start to apply this methodology to have that wake-up call. So when you feel the fear, when you think there's only darkness, I mean, the way that I see things is like enlighten the illusionary darkness, for there's only love. That's just my big philosophy. So if I think about that illusionary darkness, it's like the illusionary meaning of the emotion, that then I see the beauty within it to make me move forward and be more than I could ever imagine. And that's when we start to recognize the inner qualities of who we are. That gives you the resiliency. That gives you the flexibility and the adaptability. And if you don't think you've got that, you have. Why? Because you're here. You're here, you're alive. And if you're alive, then you got the opportunity to do something. If you've survived through all those situations, you get the opportunity right now to make a difference in your world. And you don't know what that difference will mean for someone else. You being in this world makes the world unique. It has to. You being here makes you and the world unique. So you feel what you feel, but use it as fuel to go to where you want to be. So I hope you got value from this episode. And if you're experiencing the darkness, utilize it, because that's where the light's going to come out. That's where you're going to see your greatest version of yourself, by being the warrior of your life rather than the warrior of it. Warrior, warrior. There's a big difference, right? So be the warrior of your life in a way that utilizes all that you have to make the change that you desire. So with that, my friends, I look forward to speaking to you on a future episode. And if you got value from this, please go ahead and leave a review on the App Store. And that just means we can help more people. All you do is go to the App Store that you're using your device, type in my name or Hypnosis. Most of the time it comes right to the top. You click into it and you scroll down a bit. It's got the ratings review, and just click rating and review. And then you just type a few words, maybe a sentence or two. And that means you may be helping someone as well. So if it's helped, please help someone by leaving a review. So with that, many thanks and goodbye. Welcome back. That was the live recording of the podcast. Utilize the energy. It's all up to interpretation. We can see it as debilitating. We can see it as liberating. We can see it as a marker of I can't move forward, or we can see it as I'm using this to move forward. Every successful person who came from nothing utilized what they had, even the so-called negative energies and wounds they had. And that to me is very, very special. Hey Ruby, saying hi Joseph, I'm so happy to be here with you all and feel you out a purpose of great happiness for all. All we have to do is push forward on our constant changes and not fear what it becomes. Absolutely Ruby, thank you so much for being here. So awesome. There we go. Yeah. We've got to honor it sometimes. We've got to sit with it. Nothing to run from. Sometimes when we sit with it, we see it for its illusionary self. Sometimes, from the darkness there is light. This reminds me to turn negatives into positives. To me, that's the only way. I'm always, and I really mean this, I'm always challenge based when it comes to problems. There has to be a way of solving something. Has to be. So I see or experience things and go, how can I use this and turn it into a positive? Usually for me it becomes from a learning, an epiphany, an insight, which simultaneously not only lets go of the issue, but then gives you the growth and the protection that you need. Hey, Robert, thank you for being here and subscribing. Great to have you. Hitting the subscribe button, you got a nice little welcome there as well. Awesome. So pleased you enjoyed it and got value from it. Yeah, I think we can all learn from the emotions, even in the struggle. Even in the DNA aspect. If someone can, then that means we can. So I try to look for all the opportunities of people. Because I've been crazy in debt. I've been, I said, in low places. So I want to be able to figure out who out there has done what I want. Hey, Modesto! Great to have you here. Lil Sebastian is doing pretty good. He actually went for a checkup today and his eye pressure is beautifully low, as it should be. Thank you for asking. So there's always gonna, so the way I see things, and there's what we're gonna be changing with you, Tanya, as well. If we see it as like the stock market, you know, like the graph going up and down, up and down. Well, if we take that as a model, we don't want to go into the yo-yo of all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. That's not how the stock market should work. The stock market should be going, more often than not, of the value of a company should be going up. Like the overall should be going up, right? So it's not always a straight line, right? We always see these little peaks and a little bit down, and a peak and a little bit down, a little peak. But over the long term, we're going up though. So that's the goal. That's what we got to be. Because look, life still happens to me. Do I feel these emotions still? Yes, I do. Sometimes do I feel stuck in a bit of business? Yes, I do. But I just see it as, okay, this shall pass. We've all heard that, right? This shall pass. Ultimately, everything shall pass one day. But when I feel that emotion, I know it will pass, so I'm going to utilize it. And I'm also going to see what can I learn to give me that bump. And even if I drop down a little bit, I'm going to go up. And the more that I do that, the more my unconscious mind will learn. That's how I see it. Mina says, thank you so much for this talk. I feel motivated now. I've been trying to heal my mum's issues, but it feels daunting at times. She was a hardcore parent, and I had to accept being hurt to love her. Yeah. You're most welcome. Yeah, we can just have to interpret things differently sometimes. So, and this is not to diminish the outcome or the result, but sometimes, what am I trying to say? Oh, we got to think about like where they learned that. Maybe that's all that they knew. I mean, here's what I like to think. Everyone is operating from the best of their ability with the resources they have in the moment. That's what they're doing. Yeah, they can change it, they can grow, but in that moment, they're operating from the best they can. Otherwise, they'll do things differently. So therefore, we got to look at the intention behind the behavior, and that can change our relationship to it and realize that maybe that was their way of communicating. And it could be for some people how they communicate love is by doing those kind of things. I mean, it could be many different examples, but so I try not to take it personally and realize it was coming from where they are in that moment of time based on what they've known or learned or modeled or was done to them along the way. Yes, you did, Kevin Long. Great to have you here. Yeah, we're just about to finish up. Get to watch it a little bit later. There we go. Help others because they face their pain and move through it. I love it. That's why I like the hero's journey. Look into the hero's journey. Yes, me too. No, it's a good challenge to have. It's a good challenge. I've said this before, but it's a bit like, how can I forget his name? Maybe it's just for tiredness. Alan Watts, where a very brief, and I've said this before anyway, but very, very brief. If you were to be able to go to sleep and dream a new reality, you'll do all these different things. You'll be a superhero, you'll be this and you'll be that, and you'll make everything perfect, like everything perfect. But then after a while, you'll get bored of the perfection. You'll get bored of all those kind of things, all those experiences where you get to choose how you want your journey to go. So eventually you start to dream unexpected things. Like that's the choice that you actually make in the dream, to be surprised by life, not to be in control of life. And then eventually goes back to this present reality that we live right now, right? Because we don't always get to choose. So I think if everything was so easy, we'd actually crave some of the contrasting experience. And there's a reason why people like gossip. There's a reason why, like in England, like one thing which I found really weird at times was, you know, like EastEnders for those in England, and like Coronation Street. It's like drama every single moment, but people like drama, right? They like the contrasting experience sometimes because it keeps life interesting. It's about managing it to our advantage though, and not being a victim of it. But at the end of the day, if life was just swimmingly well all the time, you'd get so bored. If you only felt love, you'd be so bored. What's to learn just from love? I've said this before. We come into this world a blank slate. We go through events to learn from, to then, so we enter the world whole. We become conflicted through events and situations. And if we do the human experience correctly, in my opinion, we learn from those to integrate those conflicts into the one again, like we started, But now, not just how we started, because we have the one, but we also have the learnings of having learned from the resistance and the contrasting experience, which then evolves us on a deeper level, in my opinion. Right, whether we go into the spirit, whether we go into our path, where we go into future lives, karma, all those, like, I don't really mind what truths do we live by, even from the atheist to the religious to all the different spiritualities. I like the idea we enter as a blank slate, we become conflicted at times. If we learn and grow, we integrate them back into oneness, but we integrate back into oneness with the insights and the learnings and the wisdom that betters the world moving forward, or at least our own personal journey, but the byproduct of doing so will definitely serve others. Exactly. Made a lot easier once we kind of get to that place. Just catching up on your messages because I went on a bit of a ramble there, didn't I? A tired ramble. Oh, thank you, Rosella. You're so kind. So good to have you here. Yeah. We should look at the different intentions behind it. Oh, that's so kind of you. Great to have you here, the Nurse Effect. You're new, I'd remember the name and the profile picture there. Great to have you here. Oh. You changed your name. I know who you are, Veronica, then. See, I'm catching up on the comments. Great to have you back. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, I got the app team sent me a message. Thank you so much, my friend. Great to have you here. Well, as soon as I got a message from the developers to check something, we will see. But I will still go by iPhone. So no. So here's what the meaning of life is. We go into wholeness. We then get to choose, like an android, that contrasting experience of the android, the resistance and the conflict it creates by being a user of the android. It gives us a wake-up call. And we're like, this is why I don't use Android. Which gives us the epiphany to move to the iPhone. That integrates back to the wholeness. Because that's so much easier to use. So not only does it not get me to feel the same about Android, this whole analogy has caused me to realize this Android was just an awakening to not ever use Androids again. Because it's just a wake-up call. Got it? And I do apologize for all Android users. Most welcome, my friend. Great to have you here. You sleep deeply. Yes. It's too late now. It's 4 o'clock. 4:03. I thought at 4 o'clock I could have one. I think this is a big one. I think this one is. Through every challenge comes the enlightenment. There we go, yeah. Through every use of Android causes you to seek enlightenment elsewhere. So if you could take anything away from this, that's the metaphor of the... See, look, I don't have much care for the Android. I'm happy to do that with it. But no, we'll get the Android app fixed for those who are having problems, and that's why I have it. It's my Android test phone. Oh, you're saying looking for more modes? No. No modes. No modes. Good. We shouldn't be offended by anything. Or if you know what I mean. I think people get too offended in general, so I'm pleased that you're not that offended. Or not offended. But is it the truth or the perception of your truth, though? Yes, is my answer to that. Yes. But is it the truth or the perception of the truth, though? Yes. You're exactly right. Nice. Go get it. Yes, you're in the cool kids club. Take that back. Oh. That's all. Oh, stop it. See? Android S22. I don't even know what this is. This is a Samsung. But I feel like it was a S20 or something. I wouldn't know. But we can do a hypnosis session for that. Okay, my friends. Great to have you here. We haven't had a Friday rave. Well, that was a kind of a one. Well, we'll do a quick Friday rave before I think about taking a nap or not. There we go. You happy now? No. Need to choose better friends. That's what I would say. Okay. It is time to wrap this up. We've been streaming for an hour and 10 minutes almost. Technically an hour and 20, but 10 minutes was a countdown. So an hour and 7 minutes to be precise. That's okay. I like that we can have fun. I like that we can have fun and be playful. That's the other key to transformation. Transformation doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be emotional. It can be good emotional, and it'll be challenged along the way, but I like to be playful and curious about it. Because that means you change your frame of reference again. Oh, for those on my call tomorrow, I was thinking of a process of doing just that. So I'm going to formulate it in my mind this evening and create a whole new process. So get on that. Or watch the replay. Have a good one, Kevin. Yep, have a great weekend. And telling you feel better soon. Rest up. Be gentle. And I will speak to you all. Here's the thing. I may or may not be live on Monday. Firstly, because my family are leaving on Monday. So I want to try to soak up as much time as possible. But even logistically, I've got to... I think the timing of the flight, I've got to leave to take them there. So we'll see. So I may be here Monday, but I may not. But I will be here on Wednesday, at the very least. If not, I'll maybe try to squeeze in a Tuesday instead to make up for it. So... where are you again? I'm in the great area of San Diego. But I'm also in my office. Thank you ever so much. I appreciate that. I sure will. Go for a nice little dinner. Can't wait. Can't wait. Thank you, Christy. You have a great one as well. And yeah, have a good one, everyone. Speak to you all soon. Most welcome. I sure will. So, many thanks and goodbye. Oh, just very quickly. I lived there for 2 years. I like the vibe. Just didn't like the weather. But depends what we like as well. But with that, now I'll say many thanks and goodbye.